Hello and welcome back to Griffin Eye News, and this is Maeve once again with Griffin Eye News. This week we have, as always, the handy dandy cameraman, the ever reliable, questionably funny Peanut Gallery, Skeld with an A, the Peacemaker. Hello, Skeld.
What's going on?
And not too shabby. It's been a day.
It's been a great day here. This is what's been keeping me company. It's a lovely handmade jar.
And tonight, we are going to be continuing our bardic series and interviewing one of the most amazing bards I have ever met, Madame Thisbe LaBlanchette, our wonderful bard from Aries Guard.
Yeah, we spoke to the mistress or mistress teacher earlier, and now we get to see what fruit has sprung from that branch.
Yes. We'll get to that a little bit later, however.
Ooh, I like fruit and branches. I think it's fermented fruit.
Could you start by telling us how long you have been in the SCA?
Well, I have been playing locally for a lot longer. It's hard to actually completely trace that. I was blonde back then. But I've been playing officially since 2016, my first squad war, and I've never looked back.
I do believe, if I recall, there were many classes that day.
Oh, yes. Yes, there was many classes that day. In fact, all the classes.
If I recall correctly, I believe somebody was kind enough to reschedule a couple of them to make it possible to attend.
I seem to recall the Aries Guard crew running around and taking all the Tua. I was one of those instructors.
We're a dedicated bunch over here.
Hey, I love the enthusiasm.
But yeah, class taking was my first love in the SCA.
Not wrong. How did you get started in the SCA?
Well, again, originally I played locally. I was part of a LARP group and one of the members of the local medieval club at the time, as they were not as actively working at Shire as we are now, invited me because she's like, of course you're going to love this. And of course I did. Surprise, shock.
And we were forever grateful. Forever grateful.
So you have a series that you've been doing of Storytime with Thisbe. What inspired that, and where do you get all your lovely story ideas?
Okay, so honesty time. The beginning of Storytime with Thisbe is actually a thing that's related to my mentor, Bearis, and she was doing many videos, many videos. And by doing all of these videos and the new rules of the tournament, she was getting a lot of points. And she was feeling like there was really nobody competing with her at that point. So she kind of offhandedly was like, hey, make sure you submit your points because I'm not really having anyone to compete against right now. However, I'm a very competitive person. I couldn't do what she was doing.
No, you're not. No.
Only when it counts. But I couldn't do what she was doing. And I really wanted to find something that I thought would have a point, that would be kind of nice, even if it's only to a niche market. And I thought, what was something that I could do just right now if I was going to do it? And I thought I could do a story time. I had a couple of books on hand at that point. I was like, why not? This seems like a good idea. And that was sort of where that stemmed. I started doing them every single night. I started getting requests. I started Fable Fridays, working on stories without a book, telling things classic bardic style,
Yeah.
Now I sort of mix it up and do both. But most of the physical books you're seeing me have are actually from what I like to call the Library of Little Nephews. So yes, we had this little routine that was going. I would walk up to their house. They would each choose a book that I could borrow. And then I would come home and I would read those books. And then I would do the same thing the next day. At first, they weren't really big on sharing. The idea of me taking their books home, they were like, no, Auntie Bear, no. But Upon realizing that means they get to see me a whole heckin' lot, they decided they liked it a lot more. Now they're trying to get me to borrow things like cars and toys, and oh, you can take this, you know, it's pretty cute.
Why not? Why not?
That is amazing. And for the record, for Thisbe's little nephews, if you're watching, we are eternally grateful for your generosity in helping Thisbe continue Storytime with Thisbe. So thank you very much for your terrible burden of sharing of your books. We appreciate you.
So you've also written a few compositions, and I heard of a tremendous ballad, epic tale about a guy named Marcus.
Oh, yeah.
And I've heard tale of this. So what's the background to that? What's with Marcus, and what makes him so worthy of a story from such an illustrious person as you?
I would also like to hear about this.
Certainly. One of my very favorite things to do in the SCA is to write songs and poems and stories about people that maybe you typically wouldn't write songs and stories and poems about. But to me, they're completely worthy of these things. So Marcus, I met Marcus when I was a little scaredy bard. And I really didn't have a lot of direction. And I was working really hard to try to be brave and try to do more pieces and try to get myself out there. And it was actually at an Ontario May Crown, I believe. Yes. No? Yes.
Yep.
And we were both drinking by the fire, and I was discussing all these vulnerable things with this man I barely knew. And he set me a challenge, and he made me a promise. The challenge was that for Midsummer Mischief, our annual event, I was to write a piece, and I was to perform that piece. And in return, first of all, he will come to my event, and second of all, he will sing it with me. So I gathered up my courage, and I decided that I would do this. Little did he know this piece was going to be about him.
Well, he didn't say it couldn't be.
Of course not. So I got information from his little sister. And I began his song. He was, I don't know if we can say thrilled about it, but he laughed a lot.
I think we can say thrilled about it. I don't know. I don't know that he would necessarily appreciate it, but I'm going to say on his behalf, as his little sister, that he was thrilled about it.
So we're talking about Marcus Circavidra Squire, right?
Yes,
that's
Marcus
why
Fields
it's a
here.
song.
Okay, well, as long as we're on make sure we have the right Marcus there.
Everything you need. Everything
you need.
Is
and
in that song.
I did add an additional verse after he was my lovely ride to Quad War last year, which was appreciated. So all of that previously was just, pre-known information from LaMave. And then, finally I was like, look at us. We have our own relationship now. Cool.
That's awesome. I love that story. I will never get tired of that story.
My favorite was still when my sister, because I sang this song to other people before I ever sang it, like in a proper bardic format, and definitely before Marcus heard it. But my little sister, I was introducing her, and she's like, oh, Marcus from the song? And I was like, yes.
Success.
Everybody wants to be recognized as that person from the song.
Yeah, it's good times. I was like, yeah.
So what other, how many pieces have you written in your career as a bard?
A lot. Up until this whole pandemic happened, I was writing pretty regularly. Unfortunately, this kind of cramped my style for a bit, and I've only written a few little poems here and there since. But yeah, I would actually have to count. You should have warned me about that. There's a lot. But these friggin' online bardic circles are just making me burn through them all too. I've never had such a venue.
So you've been attending some of these, known world bardic circles?
Some of them, yes. I attend a lot. I have currently performed in 13 different kingdoms.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's been a blast. I try to go to any bardic circle that is available, not all of them all the time, but I like to try to make sure if someone's having one and I haven't been there, that I make an appearance. It's been really positive for me. I'm gaining new pieces from my repertoire, just from all over the known world. My pieces are getting out there. It was one of the most incredible things when somebody in Locock, asked if they could have one of my songs to sing, and it was like, yes, you can.
So
and
it's positive from this.
It's been really incredible. I have to say, out of all of the misery that this whole thing has caused, the attaching of all these different communities has been one of my favorite experiences I've ever had. Like it's been pretty phenomenal.
Mhm.
Could you tell us about our beloved battle bard story? Like I believe we have not only a beautiful songstress in our midst, but also a fierce, fierce warrior.
I am a fierce warrior, yes. Not a particularly, what are we going to call it? Coordinated one at this point, but I'm working
You had
hard.
a
I'm
wonderful
trying to get better.
showing at Crown. You had a great showing at February Crown.
It's true.
Thank you.
It's true.
And I have been doing better and better as it's been going along. The Squires tournament at February Crown was to date the best I've ever fought. I really had a lot of energy. I got a lot of fights in. I went until I literally was ready to drop. It was amazing that I got that opportunity because I really didn't think I would get that chance. I didn't think I was brave enough to do it. But it's one of the things I really need to remind myself. I created my motto, Timor no mi vincet, to do with bardic. And it just means that fear will not stop me. But I need to remind myself that I can't let it stop me in other areas either. That includes, you know, talking to big, scary, beautiful knights and about getting entered in the tournament.
Gunther wasn't big and scary. Well, he's big, but he's not scary. He just scares you apart with his bare hands, but he's not scary.
Nah.
As well as fighting, I do believe, as well as fighting and barding, I do believe you have something else in common with our wonderful cameraman here. Is it not true that you have also been the bardic champion of the Barony of Montengard until rather recently, if I recall?
I was the champion previous to the one that happened here in the fall. I both received it from Karina stepping down, and I gave it back to her when I was finished. So there's been jokes made
very
that we
nice
could
of
play.
you.
Yes,
Are you planning on getting it back from her and just sort of
this
keeping
is what I was going to say. There's been jokes that we're just going to volley it back and forth, but I'd really like to see other bards of the community stepping up. It really is an extremely fulfilling role. For me as a bard, it really was what got me to come into my own, what really got me to be brave. All these little challenges that came forward, I took them because I represented not just myself now, I represented my barony, and I wanted to make sure that I did them proud.
Is there anything specific that springs to mind for you in that experience, other than obviously coming into your own and whatnot, of getting to represent a barony in the Bardic Arts, and not only a barony, but a barony that is technically, while our parenting shire, not actually your own shire?
As from our shire. Well, see, again, I guess if you want to go into that idea, is, you know, Aries-Guard, represent. That's what I always aim to do.
Some of the best bards in Navacal are from Aries-Guard, and is that a coincidence?
No, not at all. I would
No,
say
not
that
at
we are a
all.
barding shire.
Mhm.
I'll buy that. I think we can get behind Aries-Guard being the Barding Shire.
We do a lot of things, don't get me
Also
wrong.
the Shire of Memes, though. We can never
Well, of
drop the
course.
Shire of Memes.
But I would say that memes fall into bardic. You know, it's about
I concur.
entertainment.
I concur.
So,
We can be two
and
things.
that just furthers my argument. But yeah, I don't think I'm super translating your question properly, but the things that
That's
really
okay.
stood out to me the most was just moments where, because I really wasn't doing this very long, but to a lot of people, because I was in this position, they still look to me as if I were someone that's been doing it for a long time. And that makes you act like somebody who's been doing it for a long time. And because of that, I really ended up helping some other bards come into their own as well. And that was like the most fulfilling experience here, there, anywhere, to have them be like, I did this because of you. And I'm like, you know, and like, there's nothing in the world that's better than that. Just being like, you know,
Yeah.
getting people barding. And
That's
this is why
awesome.
the people that have made me that way are the ones that I, you know, shout out to and that I think are important enough to write songs for. Come on now.
That's amazing. That's awesome. You have recently, I do believe, entered into a teacher-student relationship with a very special bard that we had on earlier in our series.
Yes, I mentioned it vaguely. My mentor, Bards Romans, that's new as of January. It's not a formalized apprenticeship at this point. But if things go well, the idea was that a year and a day from this agreement, we will decide to move forward to that one.
Excellent. And what's that been like, being taken on as somebody's student?
It's really, this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted more than anything. When I saw Bieris get to step up, I knew that I wanted that in my heart of hearts. It was like, it's a big emotional thing for me. I didn't know that Bardic could be something like that until Bieris.
Right.
And it was just such a moment of realization. Actually getting her to have agreed to take me on to this point was phenomenal. She's a lot more easygoing than I thought that she would be. In personality, she's funny, she's sweet, she's helpful. I can go to her with my problems, whether they be Bardic related, SE related at all, or just emotional. She's been an insane support to me throughout this entire thing, and I could not be more grateful. I really couldn't.
That's so fantastic to hear. I'm so happy for you, Thisbe.
Thanks.
Had one more left. Yes. Would you tell us about your Thisbe's Online Bardic, your page of pages where you keep all of your things?
So once upon a time, I wrote a song called Welcome Home. And a lot of people decided that they wanted to have that song, and they asked me if I had an online resource for that song, which I didn't. And so I decided I'd make one.
Fair, as one does.
Yeah, originally it just started off as little kind of notes on my own personal Facebook, but then I thought it would be better people that I'm not friends with, people that, you know, don't really necessarily want to add me could look at them. It was a place I could reference people. It's where I post all my lyrics. I post, now I work to post videos. I was trying to post just vocals over that. Now I don't care. Y'all can see me even if I'm looking like it. So, and I also do covers at this point just because I'm trying to get more content out there. I'm trying to post more regularly. I'm highlighting other Bard stuff and other things that I get requested to do / want to do. And then I also do historical pieces because legitimizing myself, you know, making Bieris proud.
Look at that. Look at
And
that.
that's an important thing.
So, yeah, it's grown a lot since its initial formation.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have any favorite moments or memories you'd like to share with us?
See, you've made me talk about so many of the moments that were important to me already. It's just favorite moments. I can tell you about my most recent favorite moment.
Okay.
That's very recent. I was at a Bardic circle down in Atlantia. I mean, not down, but you know, it is. In the Bernia Bright Hills. And I'd only visited them once prior when I was actually traveling at the time. So it was kind of a strange using data, not really on video. What are we doing? Nonsense. But I sang a song for them then. And when I came back this time, everybody remembered who I was instantly. They were like, Thisbe, oh my goodness, we thought we lost you. And I was requested to sing that song again. And it was just the connection I had with the individuals and how they had like emoted and how I just felt really special. And it was just like, that was just earlier tonight. And I was like, wow, like I really made an impact here. And that was it was a really interesting feeling. You know, they all added me on Facebook literally within the same few minutes. I was, you know, they're not losing me this time.
Making friends all over the world.
I'm loving that. Like I said, that's my favorite thing about this whole new online existence. It's not the same as being with you all. I still miss you. I want your hugs. I want your tasty, tasty energy. But it's been a different experience, and I'm very thankful for sure.
And definitely representing Avacol and representing Aries-Guard. Speaking of performing, I do believe that this is the last of the questions that we've got planned. Would you be willing to sing us out for this episode?
Well, of course. I deducted 2 verses from a song just for you.
Radio versions?
radio edits to get it down to time.
I've taken enough of your time, so yeah.
Never enough.
We can be here all
Never
night.
enough.
I'm ready when you are.
I'm ready for you.
This is the slightly edited version of Griffin Eyes. It was my dream to be a knight. My father taught me how to fight, and from my youth they always told me I'd be great. No challenge had I yet to rise, no practice had I been surprised. The outcome always ended up the same. And then at last the day arrived when my king called me to his side. With faith and pride he made my dream come true. I was filled with so much light, couldn't wait to prove that he was right. With my buffet, my face hurt, but my heart flew. And I stand beneath the eyes of the griffin of Avacal and swear to bleed in silver, red, and gold. I stand beneath the eyes of the griffin of Avacal, and here I pledge my life to rightful throne. Looking into the eyes of the griffin, offering my body, mind, and soul. Looking into the eyes of the griffin, knowing in those eyes I have found my role. Soon our kingdom went to war, my ears rang with the battle horn. It was my chance to prove myself upon that field. This day would make a man of me, no more games, this was my destiny. The opportunity had never been so real. And before we joined the crowd, my father told me I'd made him proud. I donned my brand new armor unafraid. Then my king rode in on a fine steed, and to his army he decreed we'd walk the path of victory this day. And I stand beneath the eyes of the griffin of Avacal and swear to bleed in silver, red, and gold. I stand beneath the eyes of the griffin of Avacal, and here I pledge my life to rightful throne. Looking into the eyes of the griffin, offering my body, mind, and soul. Looking into the eyes of the griffin, knowing in those eyes I have found my role. The battle swept across the land, and many men fell by my hand. I'd be the hero, as great as they all say. I was eager, I was bold, to win this war for red and gold, feeling invincible, though on mortal plane I tread. Then an arrow struck my chest, the pain seeped through my beaten breast. With a few more swings, I fell heavy to my knees. Father, where are you now, your majesty? Please tell me how all alone. Is this the end of me? But I look into the eyes of the griffin of Avacal, drenched in blood of Avacalian ray. Looking into the eyes of the griffin of Avacal, remembering every vow that I have pledged. One last time into the eyes of the griffin, finding comfort, though this is where it lay. Ever watching are the eyes of the griffin, and they shall remain wide open long after I am dead.
Huzzah!
Yay!
Thank you so much,
Well done,
Thisbe.
Thisbe. Got chills here.
That was beautiful. You're amazing.
Thank
All the
you
way
very
across
much.
the mountain.
And you can find those lyrics and recording on my page.
At
And what's that
Thisbe's
page-
Online
what's that
Bardic
page
on
called?
Facebook.
Sorry.
Thank you so much for joining us, Thisbe, and for agreeing to be on our show. Thank you, as always, Skeld.
Oh, thank you all. And yeah, so I guess we might see you on Online Bardic in Trimaris or Meridies or something.
Really, any place you look for me.
Anywhere?
Thisbe is everywhere. I've really started just labeling myself the one true Thisbe, so no one gets confused if they run into any other imposters
There
out there.
are many imitators.
Because
there's only
Thank
one
you
nobody,
guys
true
so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
because nobody can compare to the one-tooth Thisbe, let's be honest.
That is true. That is very true.
And with that, I will say thank you everybody for watching. Thank you both for joining me. And this has been Maeve with Griffin Eye News.